What's your business in Fort Drakon?
I'm here to deliver this hound to your kennel, Master.
I wasn't told we were getting a Mabari.
Who's a good puppy? Who's a good puppy? You are! Yes, you are! I'm sorry, what did you say? Oh, you're a good puppy, aren't you? Aren't you? You are.
Miss? Miss? Hello? Oh, Maker, I'll get the captain.
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Just try to act nonchalant, and I'll give you a biscuit when we're done.
All right, what's this about?
I'm delivering a new Mabari to the kennels. Isn't he beautiful?
Why does the blighted Houndmaster never notify me of these things? Very well, take him through. And tell Neville I want a word with him when you get there.
Sorry.
Be on your business.
It's done.
Be on your business.
Oh, I didn't see you standing there. May I help you?
I've gotten turned around in here. Which way is the captain's office?
He's down at the other end of the hall, my child.
What's the point of putting ballistae inside the fort? Some officer probably thought it was a good idea.
This might be tricky.
What did you do?
It wasn't that.
I didn't think we'd...
Intruders!
We might want to walk softly here.
What the... Intruders! Die, mongrel!
Enemy ahead. Watch out.
Intruder in the fort! To arms!
On my way. Come and get it! Damn it! I hate this part. I need healing soon. Let's end this. Just like you wanted. I'll do it.
We've got an intruder!
You should run while you can. Yes, of course. We have done well. I never liked this part. I'll try to be merciful. Why are you always attracting danger? Defend yourself! I finished. What now? There you are. Follow me, the Arl is waiting for us.
What do you... Wait, you don't belong in here? Guards!
I shall. Here comes trouble! As you like.
I knew we could not lose. Let us end this quickly. Another foe slain.
Why, thank you so much. Why, thank you so much. What's next? Excuse me, the Lady Queen has summoned me to see to her unmentionables. Well, not much. Just, may I air that for you, my lady? She's brought a maid of her to wait on her. I beg your pardon, sir, but I really can't be seen standing about. The housekeeper will have my head. Good day.
Maker's breath. It's good to see you in one piece, my friend.
Indeed. After your rather alarming lack of subtlety, I feared the worst for you. I prayed for your safe return.
Am I missing something?
You are not. It seems the entire purpose of my disguise completely escaped the Grey Warden. Thankfully, no harm was done in the end. I am hoping that, despite our unfortunate beginning, we can still work together. Will you hear me out? You have only just arrived in the city, so perhaps you are unaware of some recent events. Denerim has been in turmoil since Ostagar. Many people here are angry or grieving. Strangely, the unrest is worst in the alienage. Few elves accompanied the army. They should have little reason to be upset, which means that Howe and my father must have given them reason. I don't know what is happening there, but I am certain my father has his hands in it.
A useful lead, Anora, but you could have sent this information with your maid.
That is true. I feared for my safety as Howe's prisoner. But to tell the truth, I sent Elena to you because I hoped we might join forces. You need that evidence for the Landsmeet. But you also need a stronger candidate for the throne. You need me. I have no doubt Alistair is biddable enough, and decent, but even with his blood, he is no king. You think only I can see it? Not only that, Alistair is a Grey Warden. It will look like you are trying to put a Grey Warden on the throne, despite your claims. I am a neutral party, and I am already queen.
Anora, you are indeed Kaelin's widow, but...
I am the daughter of Ferelden's greatest general. Who do you think truly ruled this nation for the last 5 years? Kaelin. I am what this country needs, not an untrained king who does not even want the throne. I can help you stop my father. Consider what I have said. For now, I think I will retire to my room. Warden, when you have a moment, I ask that you speak to me in private.
Well, she's quite spirited. I remember when Loghain first brought her to Denerim. Poor Kaelin was a good boy, but Anora was always 2 steps ahead. Had him jumping when she snapped since the first time she batted her eyelashes. I cannot help thinking she may be trouble, but we should keep her close, all the same. This is an alliance of convenience. For the moment, we are united against Loghain. Be careful how much trust you place in her. I do not for a moment think Anora means to give up her power easily. Still, I would rather have her where we can watch her than actively working for Loghain. Anora was a capable administrator for Kaelin's lands, but she has not a drop of royal blood. We did not fight the Orlesians all those years just to lose our royal line in a single generation. Not when there's a surviving son of the blood.
Are you serious? No, never mind. I don't even want to hear the rest of this. You two just keep talking about me. I'm going to stand over here with my fingers in my ears.
That would certainly solve a lot of problems, and put forth the strongest argument before the Landsmeet to remove Loghain from power. With Therin blood on the throne, and Anora's wisdom and popularity, Ferelden could present the most united front against the Blight. Unfortunately, the marriage would never happen, unless they both agreed to it. And I suspect that might take a lot of persuading to get past her pride and his humility.
No, I don't, which I've told both of you on many occasions. If Anora's turned against Loghain, I say let her keep the crown. It looks better on her anyway.
You're both wrong. With a few months of experience, Alistair will make a fine king. He knows how to lead troops to defend his land. He knows how to stand and fight for justice. He knows how to show compassion to those less fortunate. and how to trust to the Maker's guidance to know right from wrong. And he knows who to turn to for aid, should that training fail him. He will be fine. Ferelden was first united by Calenhad, the Silver Knight. For 400 years, his descendants have ruled Ferelden. That was the heritage we preserved from the Orlesians, and it is the heritage I will fight for as long as one of Calenhad's descendants still lives. Without that to unite us, we could scatter back to warring Terniers. We certainly have a great deal to plan. Maker knows what that man is capable of now. Of course, if I might make a suggestion, go speak with Anora. She will either be a powerful ally or a powerful enemy, and the sooner we know which she is, the better. Warden, let me know if there's any assistance I can give you. We have much to do and little time. We need to do all that we can in the few days left to us before the Landsmeet.
Hello again, friend. It looks as though you're no worse for wear after your stay in Fort Drakon. It's located just off the Market District in the northern alley past the Nord Noble Tavern. I'll sketch out the code which will let you pass the lock wheel. Inside you can take your pick of whatever equipment remains. It is the stockpile the Wardens have kept for centuries, for the defense of Denerim. We went through our joining together, more years ago than I like to remember. He was exactly the same back then, tough as stone and just as grizzled. I think he understood sooner than the rest of us how ugly a choice it is to let the few be sacrificed to protect the many. Always left himself a soft spot for his recruits, though. Only way he ever let himself down. Well, I'd be happy to tell you what I know, but it seems to me that you've picked the important parts up yourself. Be firm in your beliefs, protect people from their own ignorance, and be as loyal as you can to your brothers, even knowing you'll share their deaths. It's tough to say. Only the fortress in Weishaupt has every record, but there are certainly a few dozen or hundreds in every nation in Thedas. The Anderfells are home to over 1,000. It's almost like the Archdemon chose Ferelden deliberately, knowing how unguarded it is. Once only, and I'd rather not go again. It's far, lad, and very foreign. The Wardens there, they fight Darkspawn like you and me, but they're shaped by the winters there in the forest. They're a cold group and don't care like they should about the rest of the world. Their king is weak, and many Anders look to the Wardens to rule. I hate to say this, but some of them seem to want it that way. It was near 1,200 years ago, and no one knows for sure, except that it began with a group of Anders soldiers. Apparently they defected from their king's army, vowing that fighting the Blight was more important, and traveled all the way to Tevinter themselves. They were the first ones to track down the Archdemon Dumat, and the ones to slay him, though none survived the battle. But they had picked up followers by then, and it was they who formally founded the Order, and were recognized by Thedas. Archdemons don't awaken on their own, you know. It takes the Darkspawn, tunneling and tunneling, searching for centuries to find one. And with no one to lead them, it must be sheer chance, or maybe instinct, which leads them. What's surprising isn't that it takes so long between Blights. What's surprising is that they succeed at all. But I imagine the old gods call to them, and it's that voice in the darkness which drives them through so many generations. The important thing to remember is, none of that matters. When you're facing Darkspawn, all you need to know is to stop them at all costs. Hello again, friend. It looks as though you're no worse for wear after your stay in Fort Drakon. When I'm well enough, I'm going to continue my journey toward Ostagar. Hopefully I'll be able to trace the heart of the Blight and where the Archdemon itself abides. If we want to defeat this Archdemon, we need to know where it is and how soon it might strike. If there were more of us, I would agree. But as it is, I don't think we can deprive all the armies you've gathered of a commander. Good luck to you, then. We will have to talk again when the Landsmeet is more settled.
Hello again, Warden. It is good that you came to speak with me. I realize that my actions at Howe's estate may not have painted me in the best light. For that, I apologize and hope that we can start again. First, let me say that I knew your family. Eleanor, in particular, was dear to me, and what Howe did was unforgivable. How fitting he died at your hands. I will be blunt. I can see that your voice will be a strong one in days to come. It is to you that Eamon listens, and with good reason. My father must be stopped, but once that is done, Ferelden will need a ruler. I would welcome your support for my throne. For years, I have ruled this kingdom as Caelin's queen. As much as they loved Caelin, all of the Banon knew this to be so. Caelin was a good man, but what is needed now is not another good man, but a good ruler. I sent Alina here not solely because I thought I needed help, but because I saw an opportunity for us both. I need your support, Warden, and you will need mine. Do you disagree? You are a fellow Grey Warden. What do you think of Alistair's potential to rule? Never mind his willingness. Alistair seems like a kind, well-meaning man, and biddable enough. These are admirable qualities, if not kingly ones. He also seems to be a fine Grey Warden, which is exactly why he should remain one and serve the kingdom by defeating the Darkspawn. Oh, there are some who would follow Alistair out of respect for his Therin blood. The others would see this as Eamon grabbing for power. Who else do you think Alistair would turn to for help? Eventually, the nobility would return to the old days of constant warring with each other. Alistair's weakness would destroy everything Merrick built. My feelings towards Alistair have nothing to do with it. I barely know him. I simply believe that I am what this country needs. I will fight for what I believe. Would Alistair do the same? Thus, I say again, I would welcome your support for the throne if you would give it. No? You're a Grey Warden, and despite the fact that my father will paint himself as the only one who can protect the country from the Blight, it is not so. Secondly, you saved Arl Eamon from a plot that no doubt had its origins in Hal's sick little mind. People will not forget that. You are competent and powerful, and in the right place at the right time. Used to your advantage, these things could bring you far. I agree that there is much to be done before the Landsmeet, but don't you think plans should still be made for what will follow? I do. That is exactly what I am proposing. When the time comes, you support my bid in the Landsmeet to remain on the throne. You will be seen as my father's enemy, yet you will be in support of his daughter. You will be seen as supporting the interests of Ferelden, as opposed to solely those of the Grey Wardens. In return, I add my voice to yours. Do you see? Together we can do what alone we cannot. Ignoring that the man looks so much like Kalen, my recently dead husband, if you'll recall, my main fear is that he might govern like Kalen as well. But it is true that Alistair has Therin blood. To some, this is more important even than practical considerations. A union might be considered a compromise, but is this something Alistair even desires? Let me say this. If Alistair is willing to stand back and allow me to continue governing the nation, then I would be willing to have him as my king. It is my understanding that governing does not appeal to him anyhow. If that is so, this is a compromise I can live with. Do so. I will be interested to hear what he has to say.
So I'm guessing someone told Anora I was planning to steal her throne. She has a nasty glare. Did anyone mention this wasn't my idea? I think she's a great queen. As far as I'm concerned, she's welcome to it. Really? Whatever would give you that idea? Well, it's nice that you think so. What do you think I should do? Go ahead and be king, just to let it happen? Marry her? As in marriage? As in be her husband? You've spoken to her about this? You did, didn't you? Why would you do that? Did you take a blow to the head? That's crazy. No, not perfect. Not perfect at all. I don't trust Anora any more than her father, and I'm certainly not going to marry her. Go and tell her whatever you think best, but I can't do it. Even if it means I have to be king myself. I'm sorry. I haven't been here in a while. They've changed the dining room. What do you need?
Well, have you spoken to my lucky betrothed yet? Or will we be reduced to passing notes? Ah, that's a shame. But hardly unexpected, really. Consider it forgotten. Now, as for the alliance we were discussing. He is my father, as well as a great general, who has served his nation well until now. If there is a way for him to live, I would prefer it. I am glad to hear it. In the end, it will be up to the Landsmeet to decide, I think. Does that affect your decision? Can we yet come to an arrangement? Once I am queen, I will be in a position to grant you whatever you wish. And I shall. This is in addition to High-Ever being properly restored to you. That should go without saying, I trust. Alistair might promise you the same, I suppose. But I would ask which is better. The gratitude of a weak king, or of a strong queen. And even if it is not for you, think of what I could do for the Grey Wardens. Think of what I could do for your companions. I trust I have made my point. Tempting. You are of Cousland blood, it's true. Despite the fact a man like you could make a fine prince and consort. Is this what you are actually proposing? My hand for your support? Very well. It is too good an opportunity to pass up. Once I am coronated, I will take your hand as my consort. So, we have a deal, Warden. I trust you'll keep your end of the bargain. Now, I suppose, comes the task of dealing with my father. That will be no small feat, of course, but I am certain you already know this. I imagine you have much to do. Is there anything else you needed from me? No. And while I know your concern is hardly disinterested, still, thank you. You return. Is there something you wish to discuss? Ask me whatever you like. Of course it does. Do you think me heartless? But how much worse would I be to calmly stay at the side of a man who murdered my husband? He was, and far happier in the field than in the throne room. He was reckless, impetuous, and charming. Had he not been king, he would have made a dashing rogue for a band of players. We were a good pairing. He would not have wanted the burden of ruling any more than I would have liked to remain the silent wife in my husband's shadow. Kaelin was so idealistic. The world was his storybook, and he was the hero. And my father is different. He's an idealist too, but he knows what idealism costs. They often clashed, but never seriously, never for long. Kaelin would always come round to Father's way of thinking eventually. And then the Blight came. Kaelin dreamed of uniting all the nations of Thedas against the Darkspawn. It was a dream. He wouldn't surrender. What my father saw, however, was the boy he had swaddled inviting Orlesian troops back into the land he had fought to free of them. And for once, my poor, foolish husband wouldn't back down. It was more than just my own loss, but I thank you all the same. They would not believe it, most of them, even from my lips. Loghain is the hero they've looked up to their whole lives. Far easier to believe you or me a liar than him a murderer and tyrant. That's why it will be critical to find some way to discredit him before the Landsmeet. We must have proof of my father's crimes for the bands, or they will never believe us. Ask me whatever you like. Do you want me to try my luck at fortune-telling? There was an old woman who read palms in the village of Gwarren when I was a child. She told me that I would have 10 children and be bald as a winter heath when I grew up. I can't say I put much faith in foretelling. What will happen depends much on you, Warden. But you certainly knew that already. Well, he was once a farmer when he was a boy, if you can believe it. I never could myself. He's useless with plants, for one thing. I remember my mother once asking his help with a sick rose vine. My mother oversaw the rose gardens personally. He touched it. No more than that. And it shed half its leaves like a dog with mange. She never asked for him to help with her roses again. He bought her another one, though. He carried it back from Denerim with the branches overflowing his saddlebag. Despite the thorns tearing him bloody, he wouldn't let anyone else take it. He wanted to be the one to present it to her. My father has his faults, Warden, but he is far from common. Trust would perhaps be putting it too strongly. My father knew what How was, and while I despised the man, I knew that Father relied on his political mind. I expect my father thought himself above being influenced by the snake. Truly, I wonder how many of these acts stemmed from How and not my father at all. We may never know. Because he believes he is right, Warden. He thinks he is the only one who can see Ferelden out of its current crisis, even if it is one he helped engineer. My father is capable of remarkable blindness, but it stems from his love of Ferelden. That is the saddest part of all, I think. I hope not, but I fear it is so, yes. I'm not sure. I had no inkling of my father's plans until Cailan was already dead. I would like to think that my father planned for the worst, but did not truly decide that Cailan was a lost cause until that moment in Ostagar. The alternative is difficult to imagine. Ask me whatever you like. Then I wish you luck, Warden.
Excuse me, the Lady Queen has summoned me to see to her unmentionables. I'm a chambermaid, sir. I empty chamber pots and change linens. Now and then I dust, just for variety's sake, you understand? I beg your pardon, sir, but I really can't be seen standing about. The housekeeper will have my head. Good day.
This is a nice estate, isn't it? Is there something you need? It is no trouble.
Indeed.
Yes. Braska.
Yes.
Is but one world, one life, one...
Those stung with 100 arrows, those suffering from ailments both great and small, his heart was strong, and he moved on.
All men are the work of our Maker's hand. From the road to the village.
Whoever you are, Wait. I know you. Poor Oswin obviously didn't recognize you. He described you in great detail, but never mentioned you were a Koosland. I owe you his life. When I saw my poor boy's legs, I only wish House still lived that I might tear him apart myself. I would bring troops against his son. But Oswin tells me Thomas had no part in his father's depravity. Is there anything you would ask as a reward for saving Oswin? Thank you again. Know that I will stand behind you at the Landsmeet with all the support I can muster. In fact, I am taking my supper today with Ban Reginalda of the White River Banorn. I'll speak with her about this at once.
How fares your brother?
May I help you? This is Ermenric's. Explain yourself. My brother would no more part with this ring than with his head. Loghain? What does my brother have to do with him? Captured by whom? And why? I think I will have to get this story from my brother himself. I thank you for bringing me this news. If you will be so kind as to tell me where he is, I will go to him at once. Ah, politics. You're more canny than I thought. My voice will be yours then, assuming I find Ermenric alive. Thank you. Take this. Waking Sea will not forget your assistance.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm engaged at present.
I've finished.
Will you be attending the funeral?
Good job clearing those louts out.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar.
You were in the Chantry. You are a priest?
No. I was a lay sister of the Chantry.
Which means...
I lived and worked in the Chantry. I did not live in that.
So you dabbled in priesthood then? So you were not a priest, did none of their duties, and took no vows, but you lived among them?
Yes.
You were a house guest of the Chantry?
Sort of.
You have coin, stranger? With Orzammar closed off, old Tegra can get you a discount. Fine weapon and arms, dwarven made.
Oh, I don't think that mule's ever coming back. Wonderful. Oh, I don't suppose you'd consider simply just taking that rod off my hands? I doubt there's anyone else who'll buy it, to be honest. Better that than be robbed on the road by some fool who thinks it's a priceless gemstone. Just as well. As I mentioned before, you'll find the golem down south, in a town called Honleith. I'll mark it here on your map. Just hold up the rod and say Dulaf Gar. That will wake the golem up, so I'm told. I hope it works. Best of luck to you then. Now, I guess it's up to me to find that mule myself.